Hello everyone. So in this today's video session, we are going to discuss the last concept and in this third module. So that one is generic web-based protocols. So why we use this generic web-based protocols in the sense? So in IoT, if you are interacting with the sensors, so sensors are collect the information and then sensor transfer that information to the databases or to the cloud, or after edge computing and fog computing, we store our data in uh, cloud. So from that cloud, next we are going to display the data to the user. So for interacting with the user, so now we are going to generate a web-based protocols. Through that protocols, we can interact with the users. So in constraint networks and then constraint, we have to interact with the constraint nodes. So through web server software. So that one we discussed in this last concept, generic web-based protocols. So here they explain the level of familiarity with generic web-based protocol is high. Okay, therefore programmers with basic web programming skills can work on IoT application. So the level, actually what they are telling in the sense, so the level familiarity with the Java generic web-based protocols is high. Why? Because in web programming, if you the programmer having general web programming skills can work on IoT applications. So and this may lead to innovative ways to deliver and handle real-time IoT data. So if you collect the data, so that data can be displayed to the user. So if you create a graphical mode through web programming skills, so then the user can directly interact with the IoT application. So if they don't have a knowledge of the software also, they can directly interact with the IoT applications. So now you already using some of the IoT applications. So there you don't know how that applications will work and all. For example, in your mobile, if you take weather report, so you don't know how that weather reporters are collected and all. But we are getting the data in a graphical mode. So what happens for next 5 days? Okay, what's the climate? Okay, what's the temperature? All those things you are getting, but you don't know how they are getting the data. So that type of displaying data, for that we are using web-based protocols. So on non-constrained networks such as Ethernet, Wi-Fi or 3G or 2G cellular, where bandwidth is not preserved, so as a potential issue, data payloads based on verbose data model representation. So in non-constrained nodes also, they are represent data in a verbose data model representation. So in the case of constrained networks and as well as embedded web server softwares with advanced features are now implemented with very little money. So in non-constrained networks, so they are using verbose data model representation. Okay, so if the data payload is high, but in constrained networks, so they are using the advanced features. So by using that, by spending little money, okay, so for data that ranges from 10 KB, so for that they invest little money, and then by using the advanced features they implemented the software. Okay, so next one is so in IoT devices that only push data to the application, we need to implement web services to the client side. So what I already told, so that IoT devices, what the data they will push, so that will be sent to the client side. Okay, so here they took the same example what I told, that weather map. So on Ethernet or Wi-Fi based weather resolution stations reporting data, weather map applications, the HTTP client side only initiate the connection and did not accepting incoming ones. So here client side initiate the connection and then they accept the incomings. They are not accepting any data, incoming data. So that they enhance the connection and then they get the data. Some IoT devices such as video surveillance camera may have web services implemented on the server side. So some of the IoT devices like if you are covering the video, you are capturing the video and storing the images. For storing images, so they implemented web services in server side. So interaction between the real-time communication tool, powering collaborative applications such as voice and video, instant messaging, chat rooms, and IoT devices are also emerging. So these are all the video and then voice and then messaging, chat rooms. So these are all the real-time applications. So what we are using in IoT devices, interacting with the IoT devices, these are all emerging technologies. So for this one, they are implementing XMPP protocol. So extensible messaging and presence protocol. By using, they invented this XMPP protocol. By using this protocol, so we can interact real time with IoT devices for video transaction and as well as for capturing images. Okay. So and the next one is IoT application layer protocols. So to interact with the constrained networks and the large scale constrained nodes or constrained nodes, so they introduce new lightweight protocol called COAP and MQTT. So constraint application layer protocol COAP, and then MQTT is nothing but message queuing transport protocol. So these two are very important for your examination purpose. In last year examination, they asked this question: explain COAP and MQTT protocols. Actually, these two protocols are are the lightweight application protocols, so that used to transfer large scale deployment constraint nodes and web based data models. So in considering constraint networks and large scale deployment of constraint nodes, Kerberos web based and data model protocols may be too heavy for IoT application. So to address this problem, the new lightweight protocol that are better suited for large number of constraint nodes. I already told, for large number of constraint nodes and networks, so for carrying data payload, so they introduce the lightweight protocol. The two lightweight protocol of application layers are COAP and MQTT. So next we discuss one by one. So this one is the representation of the application layer. So where exactly that COAP and MQTT will be work. So we already know application layer work on the top level. So here MQTT and COAP both are used. So COAP is used for UDP protocol, means connectionless, and then MQTT is used for TCP connection oriented. Okay. So below that we already know for network IPv6 IP mapping, and then CLO WPAN, okay, architecture, and then we are in MAC layer we are using 802.15.4 IEEE standard. Then physical layer also we are using 802.15.4. Example of high level IoT protocol stack for COAP and MQTT. This one is the representation. Actually in high level how COAP and MQTT will be work on application layer. So here we mentioned COAP and MQTT are at the top of this sample IoT stack based on IEEE 802.15.4 mesh network. Okay, COAP deployed over UDP, means connection less, and then MQTT running over TCP. So next we discussed one by one COAP. COAP is Constraint Application Protocol. Constraint Application Protocol, so is developed a generic framework for resource oriented application targeting constraint nodes and networks. So we already discussed that. So these two protocols mainly work on constraint nodes and networks. So this one is also one of the generic framework for resource oriented application targeting constraint nodes and networks. The COAP framework defines simple and flexible way to manipulate sensor and actuators for data or device management. So this COAP framework helps to simple way and flexible way to manipulate means what that information we are collecting from the sensors and actuators, that data they are converting into standard format. COAP messaging model is primarily designed to facilitate the exchange message over UDP between endpoints, including secure transport protocol datagram, transport layer security. So here mainly primary the basic use of COAP messaging is to exchange the messages over UDP, user datagram protocol, wireless connection between the endpoints. So and then it will provide secure transport by the help of secure transport protocol datagram transport layer security. So by using this protocol they are providing a security, so while they are exchanging the information between the endpoints. So COAP also works over short message services, SMS, as defined in mobile alliances for lightweight machine to machine for IoT device management. So this one is also working in SMS, that message in your mobile alliances, means when you are interacting with our IoT devices through mobile, while you are exchanging information, there also we are using COAP protocol. So next this one is the architecture. So simple COAP message format. Okay, actual COAP message format. So this message will contain your COAP protocol will contain messages that composed of so a short fixed length header field. So it contains header field of 4 bytes. So in that 4 bytes it contains VER in the sense version number, this one is token number, and then code, and then message ID. So all this information can totally 4 bytes, and then variable length but mandatory token field 0 to 8 bytes. So after this header field, next it have token field that contains the information of 8 bytes, and then next one is options fields if necessary, and the payload field. So here after this option fields, so if you want to attach any other information, this one is optional field as the name indicates, and the next one is payload. Actual message will be stored in the payload. Okay, so this one is the structure message format. So message contains header field 4 bytes. So in that 4 bytes version number, token number, and then message ID, and then here actually the token field of 8 bits up below that, and then optional field, and then next below that optional field if necessary, and payload field. Okay, so here VER indicates what? Version number. So we are in COP message field, VER version, identify the COP version. So T type, so this define the following 4 messages type. CON is conformable, non-conformable, NON. So T indicates, so here T indicates the T type. So the T type in the sense T is the type. So this defines the 4 different types of message. One is confirm message or non-confirm message, acknowledgement or reset. So this indicates what the status of the message. So that message is conformable or non-conformable. If it is CON, then it is conformable. NON is non-conformable, and then ASIC acknowledgement and RST reset. Okay, so CON and acknowledgement highlighted more detail in figure 6. Okay, next figure. So we have how that COAP will work, that we discussed in next field. There we discussed, and then token length, specify the size token field. Okay, TKL is token field 0 to 8 bytes. The next one is code field, indicates the request method of the message, response code. Okay, response method, for example, okay, that code will be the request get or post. Okay, so that will be mentioned in this code field. And the message ID, so in message ID it detects the message duplication and used to match acknowledgement and reset message type to CON and NON message. So this message ID indicates the exactly that genuine message what you are sending, that message is correct or any error will be happen. And then next one is token, with length specified the TKL correlate request and response. So what request and response the token will be represent. And then option fields such as option number, length, option value. It contains the other informations like the number, okay, length of the your message. So that information you can include. Then payload, so application data, actual application data will be carried. So this field is optional, but when it is present, a single bit of all ones, okay, all ones resets the payload. The purpose of this byte is to declare the end of options field and the beginning of the payload. So these are all the information will be contained in your COAP message. So and then this COAP can run over IPv4 and as well as IPv6, both the protocols. However, it can be recommended that the message fit within a single IP packet and UDP payload to avoid fragmentation. Okay, to avoid fragmentation, so we are sending in a single IP packet, but it runs in both IPv4 and IPv6. So this one is the communication of IoT infrastructure, COAP communication, how COAP will work. So the COAP constrained addressing protocol. So here actually web server. So here the is a client, he get the information. Now he can get the information in the sense, so interact with the proxy server, COAP proxy. Okay, this COAP is first he interact with the COAP proxy. So and then we can directly interact with the server. If that client wants to interact with the main server, so interact through HTTP COAP proxy server and then to the main server. So we already know what is proxy server. Proxy server work exactly as your main server. When main server is not in the stage of working, not working properly, then proxy server will get interact with the clients. So while they interact with the servers, so yeah, they use HTTP protocol. So through HTTP, this COAP interact with the servers. So these are all the different sensors, the servers. If the client wants to interact with the different servers with the help of this COAP. So this connection, what that client can interact with different servers. Okay, these servers will contain the information. They are getting the information from your IoT sensors, IoT models. So this one we called as black hole network. It contains the different network cloud. That network cloud we called as black hole. Okay. So this one is the infrastructure, and the next one is so what I explained now. That same thing here also they explain. Okay. So next, second application layer protocol is MQTT. MQTT, message queuing telemetry transport protocol. So this one mainly work on TCP protocol. So considering the ash environment in the oil and gas industries, an extremely simple protocol with only a few options was designed with consideration for constraint nodes, unreliable wireless area network black hole communication, so and bandwidth constraint with variable latency. So for working with oil and gas industries, an extremely one simple protocol they introduced. So in that they're working on constraint nodes and then unreliable wireless area network, black hole network. So therefore communication, they are introduced a lightweight protocol called MQTT. So these were some of the rationales and selections of a client server and publish subscribe framework based on the TCP/IP architecture. So this MQTT protocol mainly uses the TCP/IP architecture. Okay, this one is the working. This one is the framework how your MQTT protocol will work. So this one is the MQTT client. That client get the information of temperature and as well as the humidity sensor. Okay, so MQTT client, this one is publisher. The publisher will publish the temperature information. Okay, and then next the subscriber will get the information. So this one is the application. So MQTT client and the sub publisher both will be work. In the middle, message broker. That message broker is your MQTT server. The publisher means your server. Server is the publisher. So he wants the information. This server information get request they collect that server stored information. If the applications means the different users want that information, then they interact with the server through that message broker. That one is your MQTT server. Okay, so here all this interaction, so they are using MQTT. So this protocol in client side and as well as publisher side and as well as the subscriber side and in message brokers in server also they are using the protocol for this communication. So an MQTT client can act as a publisher to send data to an MQTT server acting as a MQTT message broker. Okay, so here in this example, so they are exchanging the temperature information. Okay, so the presence of message broker in MQTT decouples the data transmission between the client acting as a publisher and server. Okay, in fact, publisher and subscriber do not even know about each other. Okay, they don't know about each other, so they thought that they are interacting with the message broker. The benefit of having the decoupling is that MQTT message broker ensures that information can be buffered and caged in the case of network failure. So actually that information will be stored in the message broker and then caged means it stores the transaction information. So if the network failure, so again it will be resume the transmission of the data. Compared to the COP messages, MQTT contains smaller header of 2 bytes compared to the 4 bytes of COP. So next this one is the message format. So in COAP we have 4 bytes of header, but here we have 2 bytes of header. So fixed header present in all MQTT control packets. So here also message type, PUP, keyword quality of service and array time. So remaining length, variable header, payload. So variable header present in some of the MQTT control packets. So this one is optional and payload is also optional. Okay. So MQTT gateway protocol, because each control packet consists of 2 bytes fixed header compared to COAP. MQTT is a lightweight. Okay. The first MQTT field is header, is message type which identifies the kind of the MQTT packet within the message. 14 different types of control packets are specified in MQTT. So there are 14 different types of control packets we are using in MQTT. Each of them has a unique value that is coded into message type field. So here this one is a message type. So that 14 different MQTT control packets are there. No, these are the 14 different types. So connect value is one. Connect client to server, request to connect. So connect acknowledgement. So it's acknowledgement. So to indicate server to client. So they send a connect acknowledgement. So publish means though I established the connection. Publish message client to server, server to client. Publish back. This one is the publish acknowledgement. For after publishing the connection, that acknowledgement will be received, and the public received, public release. So these are all the commands, message type commands. So that message field will contain. So the next field in the MQTT header is DUP, duplication flag. The data will be duplicated, so that that flag will get raised. And then next one is QoS, is the quality of services, okay, quality levels. And the next field is return flag, only found published message. Return flag notify the server who toward the message data. The last mandatory field is MQTT message header and the remaining line. The field specify the number of bytes in MQTT packets following this field. Okay, so MQTT session between each client and the server consists of 4 phases. Okay, so that 4 phases are session establishment, authentication, data exchange, and session termination. So MQTT session means if the client wants to interact with server, okay, then that session will get created. You already know that how the session will work. So here that session will be enhanced at the 4 different phases. First one is session establishment. First the session will get established, and then authenticate the users, and then exchange the data, and then session termination. Each client connecting to the servers has unique client ID, which allows the identification of MQTT session between the both the parties. When the server is delivering an application message to more than one client, each client treated independently. Subscription to resources generate subscriber or subscriber back control packets, while unsubscription performed through the exchange of unsubscribed control packets. So graceful termination of connection is done through disconnect control packet, which also offers a capability for client to reconnect by resending the client's ID, resume the operation. So these are all the working conditions. So for subscriber, you have to send the subscribe back control packets, and unsubscriber unsubscribe back control packets. If you want to disconnect, then you have to send the disconnect control packet. These are all codes what I mentioned here. Okay, so in this way MQTT will be work in a TCP/IP architecture. So this MQTT and COAP, these two are the protocols are very important, okay, for your examination purpose. These two are mainly work on application layer. So this completes your third module. Okay, watch this video. So if you get any doubts, so please message me. Thank you. So we meet next video. We discussed about we start our fourth module.